Hey everybody, good morning, and as you can see on the top, these are just my thoughts on WWE bragging rights last night. Now I haven't watched the pay-per-view yet because, like I've been saying, usually with the exception of WrestleMania, I do watch, well, with the exception of WrestleMania, which I do pay for and watch, bragging rights and other pay-per-views I just wait to the downloadable or something like that. And I either do them through Mega Upload, Hot File, or currently as I'm speaking right now through a torrent. But anyway, from what people have said so far, they've said this was actually a very decent pay-per-view. Well, let me explain why a lot of people are saying it's been a decent pay-per-view. Because unlike Hell in a Cell, it actually had weeks to build. That's right, Hell in a Cell was on the 3rd of October, 2 weeks after Night of Champions. Excuse me. But 2 weeks after Night of Champions. This had 21 days. That's right. You see, you basically had, believe it or not, 2 weeks to build it. You had basically 13 days. Here you had 21 days to build it up. 21. See, there's a difference between 2 weeks and 3 to 4 weeks. And 3 weeks, if you do the pay-per-views in the same month or not, that still gives you enough time to build things up. That gives you 3 shows instead of limitation of 2. Because when we had Hell in a Cell, we had the post-Night of Champions Raw that helped build Hell in a Cell, and then we had the go-home edition the following week, which didn't make no sense. This, however, allowed you to build because you had the post Hell in a Cell Raw, which helped build it. Then you had the following week, which continued to build on it. And then last Monday you had the Go Home edition. So anyway, it helps build on it. That's the thing. Now, am I surprised at the fact that a lot of people said this was a decent pay-per-view? No, because just like I mentioned, it had time to build. Now, was I surprised that people enjoyed some of the matches? Not really, because they had time to build. That's right, they had time to build up. Now, was I also surprised that there was an addition of 2 other matches? No, because like I said in my predictions, I wouldn't be surprised by that. But anyway, let's get into what some of the matches people are talking about. Now again, I haven't really seen the pay-per-view yet. I will see it, and if I do a review on it, I will. But apparently what we've had was a good opening contest between Ziggler and Bryan. Daniel Bryan, that is. They said they were back and forth, had plenty of time to do a lot of things, but of course Daniel Bryan wins. Here's the thing. Here's why Daniel Bryan wins, despite the fact that he could be used as a jobber to the main event talent. Here's the reason. They're building Daniel Bryan up. That's right. This may sound crazy, but I think what they're doing is they're building Daniel Bryan up to be the next, and Lord forgive me for saying this, the next Chris Benoit. Absolutely. I know you're thinking, well, why would they do that? What are they going to do? Turn him into a mass suicide inciting murdering character? No. Look, despite what Benoit did, you do have to agree one thing. Nobody ever thought he'd reach the top. Right? When he became champion in WCW, it's because they had no one else to put the belt on at the time. Okay? And that lasted about 24 hours. When they put the belt on him in 2004, WWE, they did it because they knew he had the ability. Heck, they knew he had the ability when he was getting pushed in 2000. Well, anyway, besides that, why am I saying they're building up Daniel Bryan in that same aspect? Because Daniel Bryan has the same kind of mentality. See, nobody thought someone like a Benoit or a Shawn Michaels or an Eddie Guerrero or even a Rey Mysterio could ever be main event world champion material. But they proved it. Why? Because here's the thing. With the exception of Eddie Guerrero, Benoit, Mysterio, and Michaels all won the Royal Rumble. And they went on to prove people wrong by becoming the champion. That is why Daniel Bryan right now even though he's being pushed around job-wise or something, whatever you want to call him, on Raw, they're pushing him still to that stratosphere, which is going to lead to him being in the Royal Rumble match in January and possibly lead to Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble. That's right. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying possibly. Because why would they be letting him win all these matches unless and putting the U.S. title on him unless they knew he was going to be the future of the company, going to be the next main event world champion? Guess what? That's why he's in this situation. That's why he keeps winning his pay-per-view matches. Think about it. They're going to put Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble, and probably make him one of the Final Four. And there's a possibility he's probably being considered a favorite of the top brass right now, of being the winner. But anyway, that's why Daniel Bryan won his match against Ziggler for the third pay-per-view in a row. He wins a match. That's why. Now on to the tag team title match, which was unexpected. It was Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre taking on David Otunga and John Cena. Now, yes, I do agree with people like J-Dub and others that have said this, that it was only a matter of time before Nexus got the tag team titles. But here's why. Here's why Nexus got the tag team titles. And here's why John Cena was selected. Now, Wade Barrett tonight, after what happened last night, could come out and try to get John Cena fired. But the GM could come in and say, hey, look, I can't do that because John Cena is now one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions. That's right, John Cena is now one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions. But here's why they also did it. It allows Nexus to probably use the Freebird rule, if you will, but it allows Nexus to now travel to Smackdown and try to take over that program. Because remember when Smackdown first debuted on Sci-Fi, Wade Barrett said he was very close with the person in charge of Sci-Fi. So what better way for Nexus to have that one last shift of momentum, if you will, before Survivor Series, in which we probably know what's going to happen, maybe not, than to have them appear on both shows. That way they can make enemies out of some of the top people on both shows, and then have that one big finale. Well, anyway, that is why David Otunga and John Cena have the tag team titles. Why the tag team titles are in Nexus, so that way they can travel between the shows. So they can be built up for that one last bit of momentum. Now this might interest me tonight to watch Raw, because I didn't expect John Cena to win a title. I expected John Cena to be more of a guy that was lacking to Wade Barrett and all that, and he still is, but I never expected them to put a title on him. We'll just have to see what happens tonight. Now, as the next match goes, we had another unexpected match, but obviously it was announced earlier in the day, yesterday. Goldust versus DiBiase. DiBiase with Maurice, Goldust with Oksana. And according to some people, it was a decent match. Proved that Goldust could still bring it. And of course, DiBiase ends up winning the match, but he doesn't get back his title. Looks like he's going to get back his $1 million championship, but instead is, I guess you could say, duped, deceived by Oksana and all that, and Goldust is able to hit the final cut on him again and escape with the $1 million belt again. So that's that. So anyway, and then we have the women's title match, or the Divas title match. Excuse me for a second. Let me check my time here. Okay. Still got plenty of time. 5.5 minutes, that is. But then we have the Divas Championship. We have Layla versus Natalya. And of course, as we have all expected, again, Lay Cool retains the titles. I was hoping Natalya would win. I put that as a booking part. I booked her to win and as a favorite, but I booked her to win because it opens up So many possibilities. But of course, you know, that does not happen. Lay Cool keeps the titles. That's okay. That's okay. That's alright. Because eventually they are going to lose the titles. When? Well, I'll tell you that in another video. Then we have the next match of night. Buried Alive, Undertaker versus Kane. Kane does win for the third pay-per-view in a row. Second time with interference, if you will. But this time by Nexus. And again, this goes back to David O'Tunk, Nexus getting the tag team titles. And basically, to me, this is going to set up Undertaker returning, not at the Royal Rumble, but a Survivor Series. Because this would be his 20th Survivor Series. You think he's going to miss that? And it could be his last Survivor Series. So it sets up Undertaker coming back to Survivor Series and probably being part of this Ultimate Team WWE deal against the Nexus in a possibly a winner-take-all. I could be wrong, but that's the way I look at it. That's why Nexus interfered. But again, if WWE wants to continue putting Kane against The Undertaker, then who knows. But again, that's why I feel it happened. Now, on to Team Smackdown versus Team Raw. I was hoping Team Raw would win because, like I said, booking-wise, I would have had someone like Swagger screw over Team SmackDown. And as a fan, I'd like to just see it go back and forth, but I guess Team SmackDown won because, well, I guess they want to keep... Well, I'll tell you why Team SmackDown won. Because they're on Sci-Fi now, and it helps promote it. That's why. Now, am I surprised that Miz was the last one eliminated, even though, according to some people, he didn't do much? I'm not really surprised. Because it just proves, storyline-wise, that Miz is looking out for himself. Doesn't care about anybody. Rather have other people do his dirty work. And this eventually is going to end up costing him because, as everybody's predicting, but we could probably be proven wrong just as we were in the past, because WWE likes to throw that curveball. But right now, it looks like they're going to make Miz look like a joke when he tries to cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase and becomes the first one to fail in cashing in. But again, WWE likes to throw us that curveball, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, Edge and Mysterio win the match for Team SmackDown. Then we go on to the WWE title match between Wade Barrett with John Cena in his corner against Randy Orton. Now Randy Orton does win by disqualification. Not Randy Orton, but Wade Barrett does win. Because like I said, I would, as a fan, I would like to see that. But again, Wade Barrett does win by disqualification because John Cena gives him the attitude adjustment. But John Cena does bring up a good argument. He tells Wade Barrett, hey, look at Nexus. They're beating up on Randy Orton, but look over there. Referee's coming too. This is why I did what I did. This is why I stopped my fellow teammates, if you will, from the beatdown, because they were going to cost you the match. So anyway, John Cena then goes in there, gives Wade Barrett the attitude adjustment, but then gets an RKO for his troubles, and Wade Barrett gets an RKO for his troubles. And what this is going to lead to is John Cena possibly going up against Randy Orton and Wade Barrett in a triple threat at Survivor Series. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. They could end up having John Cena being part of Nexus against Team WWE. Well, I don't know. But that's what it looks like to me. It's one of those two possibilities. And also, it proves that, like tonight, you know, like I said earlier, tonight Wade Barrett could try to get John Cena fired, but the GM could come out and say, sorry Wade, I can't fire him. He did what you said. He made sure you won, even though you didn't win the WWE title, he still made sure you won. So anyway, overall, those are my thoughts on it and why things happened. And that's all I'm going to say. Tell me what you think, and I'll talk to y'all later.